Man, it's humid. I will not be able to stay on very long because I'm only at 49% battery. Let's see here. Humid as hell. Look at the... Okay, so I want to put in the link. I will not be able to stay on very long. Oh, because I'm only at 49% battery. Cut that off. Okay. Go here. We want a participants invite. Copy invitation. Over to Stunt Hangar. Come on.
I don't have to look at it. I
And
just know that it's
darn it.
10 miles.
At the bench. What a pain in the butt. New topic. And today's a Friday meeting. And post the link.
No, they never should fix that.
Control V.
Pauline, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm
Post.
sorry, I didn't.
My
put it.
shoulder was
All right, Steve will be here momentarily. And he's got to take this over from me because I have no battery in my phone.
Electricity.
No electricity because I couldn't make the generator run, even though I worked on it, it ran at home.
Yeah.
Let's see where he's at.
This is
Yes. I'll take that down.
We don't want that.
I can help you.
All righty. I've got to move my trailer from the grass here onto Buzz's driveway because it's going to rain and it's going to be a sloppy, gloppy mess. There's Steve.
Yeah, I'm here.
You got a window open, Steve?
Yeah, it's working.
Okay, let me,
Pull yours while I'm at it if I can.
we need to make you the host right away.
There's the bark spiders over here.
Oh, come on now. There we go.
I couldn't get it out.
I just,
Yes. You're the host now, Steve. You have to accept. Don't run off.
Close the door.
I'll be out of your way in a second here.
you can stay there. As long as you need to stay.
Did you get it, Steve?
Got it.
I can't hear you.
I got it.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
No, I don't know what the deal is. I can't hardly hear nothing.
All right, let me check my audio here.
You're turned up all the way on my end.
Yeah, you should be able to hear me.
Barely.
See if I can turn it up.
I'm underneath Joe Gilbert's tent. We're all tearing down tonight because it's going to be bad weather. So,
This better?
what's that?
Can you hear me better?
No, you know, I don't know. You wait till somebody else comes in because it could be me. I don't know. I can't hear you hardly at all.
So it's going to rain and it's over, huh?
Well, we're supposed to fly tomorrow,
Can we go down there?
but who knows? If it rains, no. I did Junkyard Wars for an hour.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to look at that yet.
Pull it out.
Got to fly yesterday, though.
You flew yesterday?
Yeah.
There's John Miller. So now you got two people to keep you company, or a person to
All
keep you
right.
company. I'll go in and adjust the YouTube settings and then I gotta sign off.
All right.
Let's go here. And my videos. Opening a new tab.
There's John Miller. How's it going, John?
Live. Okay, that's on.
How are things out in the desert, John?
Hot. Yeah, we finally got our hot weather hitting. I actually had to put the air conditioning on yesterday. It was just too hot for me.
Oh man. I don't think it's too hot over there in Pennsylvania though.
Right there, Joe.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty warm.
Oh, but you're gonna get rain.
Yeah, it's humid. This
Uh,
is not a good painting state.
Oh, okay.
that's one good thing about where I'm at. It hardly ever gets real humid.
Yeah.
I remember when I lived in Wisconsin, we had one summer, it got up into close to, well, right around 100, 105 one day, 95% humidity.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, we get that in St. Louis too.
yeah.
All right, guys, run it as long as you want. I gotta go.
All right, Bob.
Take
See
care,
ya.
Bob.
Bye.
Oh, I wonder who else will get in tonight.
See, I don't know, Steve. So,
We got several at Brodeck, so I don't know. And they're preparing for rain, it looks like.
that guy in the back stretched out. Doesn't look like he's preparing for much
No,
more
he
than a
looked, he
nap.
looked pretty comfortable, didn't he?
So are you in St. Louis or where?
Yeah, yeah, I'm in St.
Yeah,
Louis.
okay. How's your weather holding there?
Well, it was flyable yesterday. Um, there was well, we had a club meeting too, so we had a few guys out at the field. I'm still trying to make that Naki I got from Walt Brownell flyable, but I don't know. It's hard to fly. It's really hard to keep level. But
What?
uh,
Why is that? What's going on? Is it crooked or
it might be. I don't know. I was
you got
trying to
incident
zero in
meter?
on likes to fly fast. I guess it's kind of a thin wing. And it seems like the faster it goes, I was getting lap times down to 5.2 and it was more stable. But it's also
Wow.
heavy. It's 43 ounces without the battery. So and then there's a lot of lead in the nose. Got like 2 ounces in the nose and an ounce of tip weight because it was so
My goodness. How's the balance?
It's balanced good now. We got that worked out. But I don't know. I don't want to put any more weight in it.
You got the battery as far forward as you can go with it?
Yeah, there's not much room there.
Gotcha.
It's almost up against the back of the motor. It's a rear mounted electric motor.
Okay. Yeah, the Naki, they won the world championships with that design
Yeah.
back in the day.
Well, I got a Blue Angel from Walt as well, and that one is so much easier to fly. I've got it. I got it set pretty good now. It'll, it won't hunt, and I can fly pretty nice maneuvers with it.
You might want to just take an hour or two, set it up and jig it up, get the wing,
Oh yeah, check
towards,
the alignment.
yeah, check all the alignments. It sounds like that might be the problem.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Can you even change that though once it's all together?
Depends on what, for instance, if you get the wing, and you find out you got a little down thrust, that's okay. But if you got the wing at 0, 0, a little down thrust, and then you got down thrust on the stab and elevator, now you got problems.
Yeah, yeah, I know down is not good on the stab.
Yeah, you'd be far better off to have a degree or half a degree or a degree of positive on the stab.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, when I set up the Cavalier profile that I'm still haven't finished, I made sure I had about a half a degree positive on the stabilizer.
Yeah, yeah. And that's equivalent to putting in some down thrust. I'm a firm believer, as you probably already know, of using down thrust on my planes. I've found that it goes a long way to curing hunting.
Yeah, I might be able to do that because, or probably can do that because the motor I got in there is pretty, well, I guess it's old and it's pretty worn out because it's an old AXI that Walt originally had. Gosh, I don't even know when he built that.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a new badass 2826 that I could put in there, and I could put a little down thrust in when I install that.
Yeah, check the incidences though,
Yeah, I'll check the incidents first.
and make sure your flaps and your elevators are centered at 0, 0. You know,
Yeah, had a little bit of, let's see, a little bit of down in the flaps when the elevators were neutral. Tried to work it out, bend it out a little bit, but it still had a little.
yeah, that causes turning problems and stuff like that. So,
But it doesn't cause hunting.
oh, listen, any misalignment I think can start
Yeah,
up the hunting problem. You know, the problem that I see with I've always had with hunting, for me, is if it starts to rise, the nose starts to rise or drop, and you give it control, pretty soon you got these pilot induced oscillations
yeah,
going on.
yeah,
Okay, and you get those in there, that's worse than hunting actually. Well, that's
yeah.
actually what hunting is, you know.
Right. Because you constantly have to be on it to keep, to try to keep it level. So then you're going up and down.
Right.
Like
So,
on on the Blue Angel, I can just hold the handle straight and
right,
it go, I don't
and it
have to
stays
do
there.
the input. Once I get the altitude that I want, it'll stay there as long as I don't, you know,
Yep. I
shake or
found
wiggle or whatever.
I found for me on the ones I fly, I put about 1.5 degrees, maybe a little more of down thrust on the engine, on the
Yeah.
motor,
Mm-hmm.
and that's relationship to 0, 0 on the wing chord, and just like say half a degree on the stab, positive. Okay,
Yeah.
and that has taken a lot of planes, a lot of designs that have makes them where they fly pretty decent as long as I don't have a twist in the wing and stuff like that,
Right.
but it flies pretty decently right off the board,
Mm-hmm.
and it's because what happens is it's the ascending blade, the blade that's coming up. Okay, so when you're looking from the cockpit at the front where the blade's coming up, the
Mm-hmm.
blade is coming up on the left-hand side of the prop, looking like you're sitting in the cockpit.
Yeah.
Okay, and so so what happens is it gets a bigger bite of air because you have to fly at a positive angle of attack.
Mm-hmm.
So you're instead of flying flat and level like this, you're flying slightly like that.
Yeah.
Well, if you leave it like that and get that bigger bite in rotation and gyroscopic, it's 90 degrees off. So it's like, you ever held a bicycle wheel by the axles and spun it,
Yeah.
tried to
Yeah.
turn it. Now you try to turn it this way and it flops on its side. Well, that's what happens with our props in a gyroscopic, I think it's called gyroscopic precession. So when it gets more of a bite there, it's trying to turn the prop, and that makes it want to raise the nose.
Hmm.
Okay, and so now you're always having to give it a little down all the time to get that nose to come down. Now you're hunting, but if you put that down thrust in there, even as little as 1.5 degrees. Some people say 2 degrees, but even as little as 1.5 degrees, especially if you put that little bit in the step. Now you're flying like this, you know. The
Mhm.
airplane is, but the prop is dead into the wind, you know, closer to dead end. So it's having less of a tendency to want to raise the nose. Now, when you're flying a prop going the other way,
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, because in electric, it's easy to switch and put
right.
the other type of you know,
Well, then what happens is it now the outboard side of the prop is getting a bigger bite, and that makes the nose want to drop.
hmm,
Okay, and so if I suspect that a little, you know, I haven't, I'll tell you what I suspect. I suspect that you would find you might have to have a little upthrust in there. Now, I've never done that. I like to deal with the monster I know, and so rather than flipping from one direction of prop to another, I'm familiar with how to trim with a prop going counterclockwise. And so I deal with it that way, you know,
okay,
fix it the way that I know how to fix it. Because I have found for me, and this might just be for me, but I found that once I have a standard routine of what I go through to get it trimmed out. And once it's trimmed out, it flies very nicely with the regular tractor prop. So the only place where it might be needful, in my opinion, to have a pusher prop on is with a twin pusher on one and a tractor on the other. You know,
yeah,
bringing the tips. Usually, it works when you bringing the tips together or coming together towards the top of the fuselage. You know,
yeah. If
so
Bob Hunt comes in, he can speak to that because he's been playing with twins for a while with electric.
right. I haven't been playing with electric, but I've been flying them for a while myself. I actually have been flying. I haven't flown an electric one. I'll never build or fly another one that isn't electric because I'm not a motor guy, and it's just too much of a problem keeping two motors running, or two engines
Yeah,
running, uh, and quitting at the same time and all that kind of garbage. There's Electric makes it just absolutely dead nut simple.
yeah.
But
There are issues with electric. I had one yesterday. Uh, Battery was charged. It was reading 100% charge.
hmm
I got one of those little field meters you stick the balance connector on, and it tells you
hmm
about each cell. Put it in the airplane at nothing happened.
Oh, really?
Check it again, put it back in, check all the other connections, nothing. I plug in the arming plug, and it's just nothing. Try
Huh.
another battery, it's fine. But finally got to looking at the battery and the connector, and I've been using the Deans. One side was like pushed in.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, so it made contact on the charger because the charger has fixed pins on the D.
Right.
But in the airplane, you it's got that little springy thing, and I guess it wasn't making contact in the airplane, but
Oh,
So that was a weird thing, but luckily I had plenty of batteries, so it didn't really affect my
sat there and
my
scratched your
fun.
head for a while on that one.
Yeah, yeah, we did, man. We had it opened up and looking and checking all the connections and
Well, getting back to twins for a minute, since all that I've flown in twins, and of course I get to fly with Gordy, and he's been Mr. Twin for a long time.
uh-huh.
And since we were always flying IC engines, you know, it, it's almost impossible to to go with a pusher on one and a tractor on the other engine because you got to have a different crank. So you
Yeah,
can't.
that's a lot more work than just getting a different pitch, a
Oh
different
yeah,
prop.
yeah. And so we've been flying twins with them going the same way, and really didn't notice a problem.
Didn't notice
Didn't
any.
notice a problem. I mean, I, I imagine if it's big enough, got enough power, and is got a big enough prop and all that, you might see some benefit. But with a 10 or 11-inch prop, I haven't seen any real reason to. As an example, Gordon's little red Pathfinder twin,
Uh-huh.
it's probably one of the best flying airplanes you'll ever put in your hand, and it has both of those engines going the same direction.
Yeah.
You know, and so the nice thing is though with electric, you can do it. You can do it easily, and it won't hurt. It's just another complexity, but it won't hurt anything, and it might help something for all we
Right.
know. I most people will say, well, it's the engine out situation. One engine out,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if it's going the wrong way, it might turn in on you and things like that. Never happened. Not. I've actually on that Flight Street Twin when I had some wind that I was flying in. I actually have looped it on one engine on the outboard engine.
And the outboard, yeah, the inboard
Yeah,
engine was dead and
yeah,
the outboard was still going, but it wasn't coming in on you and you were
right. It
really
done.
able to do a trick.
Yeah, yeah. And so, you know, I look at it like if it works for you, great. you know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's an issue that don't know how much the problem actually exists.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes Carl.
Yeah. Yeah. Carl's coming in.
Spoke to Charles the other day on the phone.
Oh yeah. How's he doing?
Doing well. He's working on his plane and his flying and that. He's enjoying things. It seems spending a little more time with his family now than he couldn't do before.
Oh, well, that's good. Hello, Carl.
Hi, how are you?
How's
I'm
everything in
good.
Pahrump?
It's everything's going good. It's just getting warmer and more warmer every day.
Yeah, yeah.
Today was a nice cold day. It had a little bit of a breeze, which was nice.
Yeah.
Up here where I'm at, north of you, it was hot today. It was hot yesterday, but it's that time of year, you know. Of
So
course, we got.
I'm sorry, where's Carl?
He's in Pahrump, Nevada,
So he's in Nevada and you're in
Utah.
Utah. Okay.
I'm in the middle of the state in what's uh, on the shores of what was the old ancient Lake Bonneville,
Oh, wow.
and they call it the Great Basin Desert.
Uh-huh.
And because where my house is, when the lake was here, it'd be about 40 feet underwater.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of the area around here is old lake bottom.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so it's clay and it's sand and it's rock in various places, depends on, it's called Delta here because the Sevier River comes in just to the uh, northwest of me. And the delta is where all that sand and all that came with the river just spread out over the area. And so that's why I've got sand and rock and clay here in the soil.
Oh, okay. There's John Skukalek.
Hi, John.
Hi, everybody. Steve, I heard you talking about your problem with your battery, that it inspired me to jump in. I started flying electric last year, and
Uh-huh.
because of that, now I get almost every time I go out, I can practice the pattern
Yeah,
instead of fight with a motor.
yeah,
Yeah, isn't that
yeah,
nice?
I love it.
And it's wonderful. But that problem you had, when I haven't had many problems, but when I have, it's usually that. It's one of the connectors that's
Yeah,
not working or not making a good connection. I've had to replace a couple of the Dean's connectors on my
yeah.
batteries, and once I did, they were fine. Mine are Thunder Power, I think.
Is that the white ones? Oh, I'm
No,
sorry. You're talking about the battery.
batteries. Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
thunder power? Yeah, those are good.
yeah. And I've
That's
had
it.
an occasional problem with the Dean's connector on those, but
Yeah,
it's easily resolved and doesn't cut into my flying time all that much because you have more than one battery.
right, right. Yeah, that was my situation. I had plenty of batteries, so I just set that one aside, marked it so I didn't lose track of it.
Hmm.
And I don't know if I'll. It was interesting because, like I said, it charged up fine. The charger
Yeah.
didn't see a problem with it. And
Yeah.
after I got home, I put it back on the charger to put it at storage charge.
Yeah.
It was discharging.
Yeah.
That worked fine,
Worked just fine. Yeah.
but the connector in the airplane would not connect.
I had
So
the same thing, and it was a mystery until I figured out, what I just described. I would even on one that wouldn't work in the airplane. I put one of those multimeters on it.
uh-huh.
It would show me the right voltage, and so I was really scratching my head. But and I'll say this too: I had a couple with that problem, and the company that sells those batteries is great. I They offered to send me new connectors, or they said if I mailed them the batteries back, they'd redo the connectors, no questions asked.
Oh, that's good. Now the batteries I'm using are cheap. I got them off of Amazon. They're oh man, I can't even remember Yumi or something like that.
Okay,
But you
if
know,
they work.
they work. And I haven't had, other than that one connector problem, haven't really had an issue.
Yeah. Okay.
So you've been flying with the was it the grandkids you were flying with?
I was, but he's just been tied up with baseball,
Oh yeah.
and so my flying has been alone with the stooge for the most part.
Okay.
Um, and it's been so windy here.
Still.
What I've been doing the last 3 or 4 times out, every day seems to be 12 to 15 mile an hour winds. But as we near sundown, which is around 9 o'clock here
Drop,
now,
drops
it
off.
drops off a little bit. So I go out, I get the lines out, I get everything ready, and I wait until 8 or 8:30.
Hmm.
Um, when the winds come down to 8 or 7, that I'm more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And I run out and I can burn 4 batteries in 45 minutes.
Yeah. If you're
All
by
right.
yourself, just one flight.
I can fly 4 full patterns in 45 minutes.
Yeah. What part of the country are you in?
Michigan,
Michigan.
Grand Rapids, the west side of Michigan.
Is that Eastern time or Central?
Central.
Oh, okay. Cause it seems like, in Muncie, they're on Eastern time. It stays light really late. You know,
Well, it does here too. In fact, you know, at its latest, it's doesn't get dark here until almost 10 o'clock.
wow.
Mm.
Yeah, the further north you go, the
Yeah,
later.
that's true. Further north, right?
Yeah,
I love this time of year because of that.
you should see in Southern California, it would, in the winter time, at 4 o'clock, 4:30, it was dark.
Well, it gets dark around 5 o'clock here, and I hate that.
Oh, yeah, me too.
You know, right near the winter solstice, around the third week of December,
Yeah,
is when
yeah.
it's the worst.
And I thought there was a movement or whatever to change it to daylight savings time always.
Leave it there, yeah.
But the last time I saw it, it was no, we want to stay with standard time year round and not flip flop.
Yeah. The problem
We
is
won't have that extra hour in the evening in the summertime.
I know, you got lots of people that strongly prefer one side and many that strongly prefer
Yeah.
it the other way.
Yeah, so that means nothing will happen.
Yeah, I think, yeah, maybe we're stuck.
We're stuck with what we got.
I sure wouldn't want to lose daylight savings time in the summer here.
No, me either.
No.
I'm looking outside right now and the wind's whipping the trees. But this morning at 6:30 this morning, it was nice. It wasn't hot. There was
Yeah.
no wind. It was absolutely perfect flying weather up till about noon.
That's pretty much what we get here in St. Louis too. We either got to go early in the day or late in the afternoon, evening.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
it's either going to be too hot or too windy in the summer.
imagine what it's like for those guys in Tucson.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
They go flying at 6 o'clock in the morning,
Oh, because it gets too hot.
and by 10 o'clock they're done.
Yeah. So where are you, Carl?
Yeah, as far as what?
Location in the country?
Oh, I'm in Nevada,
Oh, you're in
in
Nevada.
Pahrump,
Okay.
in Pahrump, and
Okay.
you
So
know, speaking as a man that had kids going to school and stuff, that if they were to change that daylight savings to where it's in the winter, where it says
Yeah.
it stays lighter longer, it's very difficult to get the kids to bed on time.
Well,
you know?
yeah, and then they got to go
Yes.
to school in the dark too.
Yeah, it's not nighttime, or it's still daylight outside. So
There you go. There are two sides to that debate.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So
That's for
that's
sure.
I think they should just keep it for the summer, especially during baseball season, so the kids can have more time to finish out the games and not be called early.
One place that doesn't need daylight savings time is when I lived in Alaska.
Oh,
Because in the
yeah.
winter, you'd wake up and go to work. It was dark, and you'd get to work and you'd have a couple hours of light at work. You'd go to lunch and it's starting to get dark, and by the time you're driving home, it's dark again.
Oh, man.
And in the summer, you get up, you wake up and stick your head out at 2 o'clock in the morning. The sun's up, birds
Yeah.
are chirping. Yeah,
That'd be
Yeah,
hard to
there-
do.
Yeah, my wife is visiting Norway,
oh
Oh
yeah.
wow,
and
Same
they
thing.
don't have much night now at this time of year.
yeah. We know there are some states that don't even bother with daylight savings. They just keep the clocks at their standard time, and
Arizona
Yeah.
is one.
yeah. So
Week by state, I know.
Yep.
I've gone through a couple where one half of the state is an hour ahead of the other half of the state.
Hmm.
I think I wouldn't like that at all.
No.
That seems crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you doing any flying or building, Carl?
no, not yet. I mentioned this last week that we just came back from a trip to San Diego and just trying to recuperate from that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You're still
haven't
unpacking, aren't you?
excuse me?
You're still unpacking, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Didn't
I
you
don't. I
recently
only take.
move, Carl?
Excuse me.
Didn't you recently move?
Yeah, to Pahrump, Nevada,
Yeah, from where?
San Diego
Oh,
area.
from San. Okay, yeah, because
And
you
my
used to fly with Charles, right?
yeah, I did. As a matter of fact, I was last week in a program. Um, I flew with. Well, I was in a program Monday night, and I flew with Charles on Friday up in Escondido. I always try to meet up with him when I go out there.
Yeah, I miss him. I used to like. I used to like it when he was doing the hangouts.
Yeah, and then there's a couple more pilots I fly with down at Mission Bay on Thursday, and one of them flew to Philadelphia to meet one of the pilots that moved out there, and they're going to Brodock this year. So
It's
Good.
going on right
Better
now. In
now,
fact,
huh?
it ends tomorrow.
yeah, well
Yeah.
he was there for a couple days. So
Yeah, Sparky was on for a little bit. He got things started, and he said that they're forecasting rain for tomorrow. So they may not do any flying tomorrow and
yeah,
end it a little early.
Yeah, they flew one round of expert today,
Yeah.
and the plan was the second round tomorrow, but I guess it may not happen.
did they fly any fast combat? Do you
Yeah,
know?
I think they did.
Yeah,
I don't know if
because that's what
Sparky-
he goes up and watches. So
Yeah,
Who's
I know
that?
there's combat. I assume fast is included.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it's the one of the guys I fly with. His name is Stuart Monson.
oh,
Monson.
okay.
I think that's how you pronounce his last name. And so
Yeah, I think Bob captured a little bit of everything up there.
He did, and it's all on
Yeah, it's
his
all on you.
YouTube channel. You can go back and watch it.
Yeah, I
he
didn't catch any of the stuff he did today yet.
he did. He showed quite a bit of the Junkyard Wars, which is entertaining.
I bet. Yeah, that's all.
They built with yard signs and trash in about an hour, he said.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so it's
I
kind of
would
fun.
like
It's
to.
kind of fun to see what they come up with and fun to watch them fly.
Yeah, I don't think I'd enjoy participating, but I think I would enjoy watching.
That to me would be more of a spectator sport for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
But our own Bob Hunt won Classic.
Yeah.
oh, good.
Yeah, that was nice to see.
Was his Caprice?
Yeah, I believe it was his Caprice. Yeah.
Yeah, he's won a lot of
Good pilot.
there and in at VSC. In fact, I think they threatened him that if he ever brought that airplane back, somebody was going to work on running over it with a truck or something.
He's gonna
I was
pull
hoping
it.
Bob would get on tonight. I would like to hear some stories from.
Oh, I was talking with him yesterday or the day before, and he sort of indicated he would probably be on tonight.
Yeah, that's what he told me. I talked to him yesterday morning. Yeah, I think it was yesterday morning before I went flying. Now here comes Bob Whitley.
Hey guys,
Hi, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
how's everyone doing?
Oh,
Good, thank you.
we're
Doing
having a
good.
good time.
How about you?
Oh, I've had a bit of a nasty cold all week. It's kind of laid me up,
Oh no.
but getting over it a bit. Waiting for a friend to drop by that I haven't seen in a long time. He's bringing me a canopy for a chipmunk from
Oh, nice.
Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. So it's traveling a long ways.
Oh,
wow.
Is that the rad?
What's that?
Is that the Rad the Racer?
No, that's Gord Van Tighem is actually
Oh, okay, that's
sent it
the
from
other.
me.
Okay,
Yeah,
say hello to him for me. I've never been to Yellowknife. I would.
will do. It's actually a friend of mine from Calgary who's an aeronautical engineer, was doing some work up there, so he picked them up for me.
Ah,
Oh,
cool.
neat.
How you
you-
doing?
are you-
You still getting any better? Or you're all over that?
Uh, well, I've got a couple more specialist appointments in July, but I'm having a bit of a problem with my sternum. It's when I move, bend over, or twist, it sort of binds and then goes pop.
Ooh,
It doesn't hurt, but it's a hideous feeling.
Did you
So
have a
I'm hoping they don't have to go back in on that, or
did
that'll
you have
tie
a
me.
bypass or something?
What's that, Steve?
Did you have a bypass or something?
Yeah, triple.
Oh,
That's
I had one back in 2013, and luckily I had no problems whatsoever with it. No
now I
infection,
probably
no
have
weirdness.
used it because I started lifting things and stuff I probably shouldn't have, too early. So
Oh, you
probably,
pushed it,
if
huh?
there's a problem, I probably did it to myself. But
Oh,
yeah, I had it done on the 23rd of December, so I spent Christmas in the hospital bed.
oh, wow.
oh,
Yeah,
gee.
I was working at Best Buy at the time, and in the appliance department, and we always had to, before we left, had to restock the small appliances. Well, I worked with a lady that she would after that all happened, I went back to work. She would not let me lift even a blender.
Well, I can remember the one day I needed my one of my metalworking vices, and they were up on a shelf put down on the work.
Oh boy.
And I suspect if I did a damage, it was probably that day.
Hmm.
Well, I'm hoping that it heals up on you and you don't have to go back in for anything on that.
Yeah.
Wish you the
Yeah,
best on that.
that'll tie me up for another 6 months probably for going for my pilot medicals.
Oh man. Yeah.
Oh,
And there's some iffy aspects on that anyway, because the chief medical examiner in Ottawa for Transport Canada, she's ex Air Force and Space Program, and
uh-oh.
been all kinds of people had problems with getting medicals approved for any conditions and stuff. And I had 2 incidents of administrative screw ups by her. So, and she wasn't pleasant about it. So, you know how it is with military doctors. If they ground a pilot, they don't care because the pilot still gets paid.
right.
But so I'm being guardedly hopeful of getting the license back. Physically, I'm fine. In the first 6 weeks or 8 weeks, I surpassed the requirement for a stress test, and all my blood numbers and everything are really good. So,
Well, that's good.
but
That's
I've been really leery about doing anything with this chest like this, so I haven't even considered trying flying control line or anything, even with those 15 size planes I built.
Yeah.
I just don't want to risk it.
Right. Yeah.
You can't blame you.
And
So
I'm still pretty
home
weak at
there.
arms because I haven't been, doing any upper body exercises because of it.
Mm-hmm. So you're at home there?
Yeah, I'm at home. Yeah.
I got to ask you about the prop behind your head.
Oh, okay. That's off an Avro Anson Mark One with a Cheetah engine. If you notice, it's got the opposite rotation. It's British.
Oh, wow.
Pointy tip too.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get it into the picture
Yeah, there
better.
we go. That's interesting. We
Uh,
got a little bomblet hanging from it.
yeah, that's a 25-pound practice bomb that they used under the B-25s out of Edmonton here
Oh, wow.
for the 418 Squadron. And
So British props are clockwise, Bob?
yep, British engines rotate the other direction, most usually.
Didn't know that.
Like some of the Merlins, I think all of the Packard built ones and some of the British ones were, regular rotation, like a Mark 9 or a Mark 16 Spitfire, but the others were reverse rotation.
Hmm. You know why?
It's just the way they did it.
Just the way it
Because
just
they
so
could.
happens to be backwards.
The Russians are that way too.
Ah,
like when I flew a yak, it was it didn't take long to get the feel of it, because you step on whatever rudder you need, but on takeoff, you're typically using opposite rudder, because North American, they want to swing to the left, so you've got right rudder fed in. Well, with the Russian, the yak, you're feeding in left rudder,
How
so it's
about-
just a bit different.
Yeah. Wayne Rice. Right. I got Lisa Royce. There's a hangout. Great like given. And then it says Wayne Rice. Is that Wayne Royce, maybe? I don't know. Maybe
So you guys were talking about the junkyard wars.
yeah.
Right,
Did you see Sparky's video?
No, I didn't. Although I did catch his video with Buzz flying for the first time since 1980.
Oh, wow. No,
That
I haven't seen
great.
any of the ones you shot today, so I'll have to
But
look at those after we're done here.
yeah, those we called it Apple Box Derby back in
Yeah.
the and that was one of my favorite events. I just loved it. And we were allowed to cheat a little bit though, and have a crutch with the engine and the bell crank mounted, more for just safety purposes,
Yeah.
and then build the airplane around it.
So they just do half A?
Well, what we flew was whatever. I mean,
Whatever.
I typically put a 35 on, because that's what I had.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Brodak, they don't do it half A, they use bigger engines.
Oh, okay. Guess that's
Size.
more difficult. Stuart snuck in on us.
Hey, Stuart.
How are you doing, Stuart?
Good.
Hey, Stuart, long time no hear. It's been a whole week.
Yeah.
Oh, if we get Len Burrell, we'll have 3 Canadians, right?
Yeah.
Haven't seen Len for a while.
No, he hasn't been on in a while. I
Is
don't
he,
know
is
what's
he
up.
okay?
Oh, yeah, he's okay.
I haven't heard anything.
He
Oh,
just
good.
changed protocol a little bit.
He's still getting his daily flights in.
Far as I know, he's been still doing it, so.
How did it go at that contest you went to?
Oh, sir, me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I left before the tallies got done, and I haven't found out how to get it yet, the results, but I left a message with somebody. I finished my flights, and then I left early because I had a 3-hour ride home, so I didn't stick out right to the end.
So where was the contest?
It was in Toronto,
Toronto?
Excuse me.
but it was a little windy too, a little more than I like.
How far
Well-
is that from where you live?
It's 3 hours.
3 hours?
Yeah.
Well, going to Toronto, I don't blame you for wanting to leave early.
Yeah.
Not pleasant in Toronto?
No, we jokingly call it the center of the universe in Canada.
Is that the one that's in that part of Canada that's actually south of the United States? South of part of the United States?
It's south of Detroit.
Well, you
Yeah,
know where I
Detroit.
live. I live in the most southern part of Canada.
You
And
do.
Detroit's probably, it's just like, it might be like, I don't know. I think could be as.
Royce asked, what is Junkyard Wars? Anybody want to take a stab at that?
They get a bunch of people that are on the table and they got a bunch of old pieces of wood, usually apple carts and orange crates and whatever. And you got a certain amount of time you got to build an airplane out of that pile of junk. And then you got to fly it. And whoever's, they get judged that way. They get judged on appearance and on flying, don't they?
We never had appearance judging back in the day, but it had to fly a minimum of 10 laps.
Yeah.
Build them
Some of you
in
guys got
about-
good
they
enough. I've
build
seen
in
them do a loop.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
some guys that just wasn't worried about winning. They just spend time making these great models. And I know one guy I can remember, he was flying his for weeks afterwards. did such a good job on it.
But they don't have much time to build them. And as I understand it, the main material they have to work with are a whole bunch of yard signs, like political yard signs.
Yeah.
Yeah, the coroplast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be just wood, apple, and orange crates.
Yeah.
All we had. And that was before CA was out too, so it made it a little easy. Usually, use 5-minute epoxy to slap them together and tape.
Lots of tape.
Yep.
Duct tape.
Yep,
What kind of time do they give you to build it? Do you know?
There is no time limit, really. It's the first person flying the 10 laps, that's the end of it.
He made a comment that the Brodak planes were built in about an hour.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I know Sparky did a video of it today, so go to the Stunt Hangar YouTube channel. There's a video of it, so that'll give you a good idea about what.
Some of those planes that come off of that really look strange.
And Brodak has it as a team. We used to be, every man for himself. So
Yeah, they
Now
do
it's-
by team and
Now it's teams, yeah.
So if you're to enter in that contest, are you allowed to bring your own power tools or no power tools?
I don't know. We
I
didn't
don't-
have portable power tools back in my day, but so we didn't do that. But
Yeah.
I don't know if Brodak allows an electric drill or not.
Well, I mean, how would you drill the holes to mount your motor onto the wood? And I did it by hand.
Yeah, the old egg beater drill.
Okay.
At
Hey,
least
there's
that's how you-
Gary. Gary made it.
Yeah, man.
Hey,
Gary,
Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Howdy.
we were talking about junkyard wars. Did you ever
Yes, that's
take
neat.
such an event?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I did a couple years ago. Yeah.
at Brodak or somewhere
Yeah,
else?
Brodak.
So did what you build fly?
Well, I didn't. I just watched them build it.
Oh, you
Yes,
just
yeah.
watched.
I was just there to see. Yeah. Mhm.
You remember, Gary? Do they use power tools like a drill and everything?
Well, I think so because you got the electric ones now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
battery.
Yeah, I think
battery
they
power.
could pretty
Battery
well
operated.
bring what they wanted.
I bet you're right, John.
Yeah. Because I think I was watching. He's had little shorts, through the day. I thought the one time he showed a table there, and I saw a drill there. So
Makes sense.
Yeah.
yeah.
We got off on junkyard wars. I was gonna ask Stuart, what event did you fly in at the Toronto contest?
Well, kind of profile and profile.
Profile and profile.
You fly your
It was
Pathfinder?
kind of like we did two sessions, and it was like you could fly what you want, really. It
Oh, okay.
wasn't too strict, put it that way.
Did you fly your Pathfinder?
No, I flew the Twister.
Okay.
Is that a stock twister or fancherized?
Franchise Twister. The Pathfinder got crashed last year, so I haven't had time to fly it again yet. So, but I'm hoping to get back into that next week.
There you go. Okay. Just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get time to work on the Vector neither because of the weather before I went.
Mm.
So I'll get them tomorrow, hopefully. And
I can't give anybody a bad time about not getting on the repairs. I haven't done anything in so long. I don't know if I really qualify to be here anymore.
Oh, man.
Well, it's
You're-
been just about 2 weeks since I did anything model
you're
wise.
grandfathered in, John.
John,
Yeah.
you're overqualified.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't let the gray beard fool you,
Yeah. Stuart, is that Vector you're building? Is that, electric or IC?
Well, I didn't build it. Actually, it was a hand-me-down from Brad. So, that's the one I had the problem with the engine. And, I finally got the right Venturi for it. And so hopefully, like I say, I hope to get it out next week and see how it goes.
So what engine then?
It's a 36, is it Super Tiger? Yeah, I think it's Super Tiger.
Oh, okay.
If it's Super Tiger, it'd be a 35.
Okay,
I don't think they ever made a 36.
46, Super Tiger 46.
Well, who
Uh,
made 36? Bob,
uh,
you know?
and which is it? It's not the Super Tiger. What would it be?
Fox made a 36.
Well, is it a Thunder Tiger?
Thunder Tiger. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good engine. That's a really good engine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
wasn't there a modification of that?
Yeah, the Aero Tiger.
Arrow Tiger. Who did that? Randy?
Yeah.
yeah.
What was
But
the,
I've got one just stock and that sucker runs real good.
uh-huh. Anybody know what the modifications were that Randy did to make a Thunder
New
Tiger
piston
and Arrow Tiger?
I believe there's a new piston and liner went in there.
Oh,
They probably balanced them too.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did any porting on them or not. I've never
Well,
heard
they were
about
called
that.
Aero Tigers, and I think that meant that they probably had piston and liner from, wasn't there an Aero something that he was selling for a while?
Yeah, Aero Products, I think it was.
Yeah.
so maybe different metallurgy in the piston and liner?
Very well could have been, though I think the Thunder Tiger metallurgy wasn't that bad. I think it was at least ABM. It might have been ABC.
Now, I'm just curious because I know I've heard a lot of people's, a lot of good things.
From what I understand,
Tiger.
it was worth the investment to get one.
Yeah, it was a definite upcharge.
Yeah, a couple of the guys up here have them, but I've never really talked to them about them, but they really like them.
Yeah.
I think that's what Bruce has in one of his twins.
Aero Tigers?
Yeah, I think so.
That wouldn't be that big Gemini twin that he got, that Gordon gave him.
Yeah,
would it?
that's the one I'm thinking of.
Oh, that only thing that aircraft ever needed was to have two good engines in it. Gordy had two OS 35Ss in it, but one of them was kind of a dog. And I remember we were at a condo site finished. I had a OS 35S on my plane in profile, and he'd had his first flight up and he had engine problem. I said, Gordy, that engine, pull it off and here, take the one off of my profile here, put it on there. So he did that, and he put his Venturi in and his needle valve, all of that, and oh, what a difference that plane, that plane's awesome. Goes up over in the wing over, it looks like a surfboard going over there.
Yeah, I've only seen it fly a couple of times. I've seen us too much fly many times.
Yeah, well, the Gemini, I think, outclassed the too much way by a long shot, in my opinion.
John,
Yes, sir.
when you lent him that engine, was it the same engine he was replacing? Or did the bolt holes just happen to line up?
Well, it was the same engine. He was running OS 35Ss in there.
Oh, okay. And
Okay,
that's what
but
you had.
his one of them was running good, and the other one was kind of crappy. And,
Oh, it was a twin?
Yeah, and so
Oh,
what we
okay.
did, we pulled the OS 35S off of my Excalibur, and he changed the Venturi and that so it would match, so he could match up. Put it on there, and oh, what a difference that made. That plane really. If he'd have had that set up in there all the years he was flying it, he most likely would have been unbeatable.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have a 35S, but I've never gotten around to using it.
They were and still are one of the very outstanding 424 engines from the late 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah, the one I got was RC, and I switched it to Venturi. But I was going through an antique store, and hanging from the ceiling was an RC model airplane, and so I bought it for $60 with the radio in it and everything, and
Wow.
thought, what the hell, and pulled the engine out.
Yeah.
You still got the plane?
Oh yeah, yeah.
We had a fella here locally. He's the guy that owned and built the TWS, TWA racing engines. He took both mine and Gordy's OS 35S's, and he put a little teeny groove right about just a little bit under the crown of the piston, just a little groove there to hold that oil in there, and a couple other things, a little extra drill extra oil hole in the on the wrist pin, I believe it was. He also used took out the connecting rod, which on those that's the Achilles heel of that engine, is the connecting rod.
Mm-hmm.
And but there's one from a Super Tiger 35, I think, fits right in there.
Hmm.
And it's bushed on both ends. The OS one wasn't bushed at all, so it just beat and elongate that hole, and anyway, made a really sweet engine out of it.
Yeah. So on a non-model note, last Saturday I put on a big do for the veterans at the extended care center, and it went fantastic. I had a pipe band in, and video of all the VE Day stuff and D-Day for them, and the old boys
Cool.
got distributed scotch for anyone who wanted it, and did a few toasts, and it was
Sounds like a Robbie Burns dinner.
well, it was kind of a makeup for Robbie Burns, which we had to cancel this year. I put on a big bash there every year. It's their biggest event, and I was laid up just out of the hospital, so I wasn't able to go there, and so I was delegating. And a dear old friend had up and suddenly died in the hospital, and his funeral was that day, so we canceled it.
Oh my goodness.
So he had been the honorary colonel for the local helicopter squadron, and that had priority, obviously. And so we never did do the Robbie Burns thing this year, so made up for it a little bit.
So do you really have haggis?
Oh, of course.
Okay,
You couldn't have a Robert Burns thing without haggis.
that's right.
Yeah, haggis and scotch. And we always buy decent scotch for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, John.
Yes, sir.
Wayne's got a question. He says, "Hi, John Miller. Would you know where to get Golden Hawk plans? My first plane."
The old hollow log Golden Hawk.
Which the F-86 Golden Hawk?
I'm assuming that it's probably the Gold Scientific had a model called the Golden Hawk. It was a half A model. I'm assuming that's what he's talking about. If that's what you're talking about, there was some group 3 or 4 years ago that were specializing in those hollow log designs. They actually were.
Oh, the old
remaking-
scientific kits?
Yeah, old Scientific kit.
Yeah,
Remember that?
I
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah, there was one I always wanted when I was a kid. Never got it. It was Stunt something. Stunt Master or Stunt something.
I would
learned
look. I would look on Outer Zone though. I don't
Yeah, I
think
was
you'll
gonna
find a
ask you,
kit.
maybe Outer Zone.
I don't think you'll find a kit, but I think you can find some plans
I think he's looking for plans, yeah.
Yeah, on outer zone for that Golden Hawk.
Another
You'll
one to
have to
try
make your
is
own hollow log though.
another one to try is Hip Pocket Aeronautics. They've got a good selection of plans too.
Yes, yes.
Hip Pocket, is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Hip
Hip
Pocket.
Pocket. Yeah.
Hip Pocket Aeronautics, okay.
I had a Piper Cub with that on the
Did you?
log. Yeah,
My,
I learned to fly.
my,
Learned to fly on that.
my first scientific kit was a L-19 bird dog. There's just something at that time in my life, there was something about that bird dog that just tripped my trigger.
I was mostly used to looking at the back end of a bird dog because we used to use them as tow planes when I was flying gliders. Yeah. They were the ex-Royal Canadian Artillery ones when they shut down the Army flying airplanes.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what kind of power did that L-19 have in it? 200 horsepower or 180 or?
No, they were 215 or 230, something like that.
Yeah, they had a little bit of power.
Yeah, they had a 6-cylinder Continental in them.
Yeah.
I forget the horsepower exactly, but it's in that region.
Yeah. Seemed to me that it was over 200. And,
yeah, it is. When I was at Rivers, Manitoba on my training, we were using the L-19s, and there's somebody came in with a Wilga. So they did a drag race with the L-19 and the Wilga, and the L-19 toasted the Wilga.
Well, what was the other observation? Is there Aranca?
Well, there was quite a few. There was the, in the Second World War, there was the Aranca. Oh, what model was it? I could draw a picture out of my head.
Yeah. I saw one of
the Stinson L5 Sentinel.
Yeah, that Stinson I always thought was a nice airplane.
Yeah, they sell rides, or at least they were last time I flew through there in Brandon, Manitoba at the museum. They had a Stinson and a Harvard that they were selling rides on at the museum.
Really?
I think they had a Cornell there too. And in Saskatoon, they have a Harvard Mark II, a Chipmunk, a Cornell, and a Tiger Moth that they sell rides on.
Wow. Kind of get back into nostalgia on that.
I wondered about volunteer and go out there once in a while for a weekend and fly them for them, but I don't know. It's a long ways to go.
You know, one I'd drive up there just to get a ride on would be that Dragon. That, you know the one I mean? The biplane.
Yeah, the de Havilland Dragon or Rapide.
Rapide, that's it. Yeah.
The Dragon was the slightly smaller version of the Rapide.
Yeah. Well, to me, that was one of the most beautiful airplanes, biplanes, that I ever saw.
Yeah, there was a fellow named George LeMay, long dead, had a little private airstrip on his farm by Acme, Alberta, and I'd pop in there once in a while to visit with George. He had a Dragonfly, and he had a Staggerwing Beechcraft, and 4 Tiger Moths, and a Flybaby, and it was quite the operation. But all of his stuff is after his death was dispersed all over the place. So
yeah, that's often the case, isn't it?
But that was in the days when it was literally grassroots fly-in. Whenever I popped in there, I'd buzz the field, make sure there weren't any big gopher holes or badger holes in the strip, and come in and have a visit.
I remember when I first went up to Alaska, I was on the Alcan Highway, and there's somewhere up there in Upper British Columbia or Yukon Territory. A friend of mine from Seattle asked me to drop in to a friend of his there that lived in that area. He had a little there's a cabins and things like that for summer, but he spent year round up there. And I stopped up there and I got to see how you start a Super Cub when it's like 35, 40 below zero.
Been there, done it, didn't enjoy it.
Yeah. He was clever, that guy was. He was running his whole, I'm trying to remember what you call it, his whole little setup there. He had a big old '09 diesel, a big 2-cylinder one. And he would actually change the oil while it was running. It ran, it was like boom, 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 boom. And he ran pipe, insulated in the wintertime. That diesel, that's where he got his electricity, but that diesel, he'd run the coolant through his units and that to keep for heat. And he would heat the place, with that, by running that '09 diesel for electricity.
Yeah, the way I'd preheat in isolated spots for, my Citabria or whatever, is to just put an insulated blanket over the cowling, and I take a piece of stovepipe with an elbow in it and aim that up and make it sure that the pipe's long enough that there's no actual flame coming out the end. And I just put a tiger torch down there and have a propane tank and have at her. Or if you could get hold of one and had a bit of power, we'd use the Herman Nelson heater.
Well, that's what he did. He had that insulated blanket he put over it, and he had pretty much the same, but he had one of those kerosene fired heaters. Is that what you call a Nelson?
Yeah, Herman Nelson was the slang for them.
Yeah, he had one of those, and he'd point that up that thing there and turn it on and preheat that engine up.
Yeah, they only work if you got power for them, though.
I had that big old diesel,
Yeah. Yeah, but you're talking about up on the Alaska Highway. It used to be, I don't think it exists anymore since they redid the highway, but at Toad River, you actually used a section of the highway as a runway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could do that in a small plane, but they purposely built that, as you well know. They did so many curves in it, so you couldn't use it as an airport. They're worried
although
about
a lot of the curves and stuff, some of that is mythology for strafing convoys. It's really because they were putting it through as fast as they could, and they went to the solidest ground they could around the swamps. So that curved everywhere.
My ex-father-in-law was with the Corps engineers, the Army Corps engineers that were putting it in there. He actually, one of those, he told me what river it was, and I've been across that river. But he says up there they found huge nuggets of native copper in that river.
Mm-hmm.
Huge nuggets. And he said they got together and they took some equipment like cat and a couple of pieces of equipment, and they buried them there. So they would come back after the war. They're going to go mine copper up there. I bet you that stuff's still there.
If it's a main river, it was probably the Liard or the Musqueam.
I think it was the Liard.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting pass. That's one of the few pieces of the original Alaska Highway that's still in use.
Really? Boy, when I went up there, the whole thing was still the original.
I can remember New Year's Eve, or between Christmas and New Year's anyway, miserable night. I was taking a work with the lowboy up to Fort Nelson, and I ended up spinning out on that hill on the north side and ended up jackknifing it into the high side so it didn't go over the cliff. That ended up a fun night at 40 below. And my brakes had frozen on the trailer. I got the brake pulling me up. And so I went to twist off the glad hands to shoot a bunch of alcohol in. It was cold that the hoses snapped.
Oh no.
So I crawled under with the wrench and backed off the brakes and didn't bother with trailer brakes.
No, in roughly very close to the same area as where I went off and into the borrow pit. I was trying to let somebody pass me because I didn't want to go as fast as they were going, and I caught my right front wheel caught the soft snow. Boom, down I went. I came back. I was like 4 or 5 feet from coming out the other side, but the snow down in there was like 3.5, 4 feet deep. And anyway, I did the same thing. I got it out of there. Trucker came by and he used his chain and cable and part of his chains for his wheels and pulled me out. And I stopped. There's a little town there. It's actually in Yukon, but that's right where the road would go in and out between British Columbia and the Yukon Territory. There was a little settlement there. Anyway, I stopped that night there because I knew I needed to rest. And
That wasn't Tesla you're talking about, is it?
it could be. It could be. Anyway, I big mistake. I put my safety my safety brake on before I went in, and so I had to do the same thing. I could go backwards. I had to go backwards to get the brakes warmed up enough to get them to release, so that I could head up the road.
Yeah, when I was driving truck out in the winter conditions, even around here, just north of here, we just left them run 24 hours a day, or you have a bitch of a time starting them again. And there's one time I spent just about 2 days getting a D6 cat started out that had been left out in the bush.
Yeah.
And I was cursing that they didn't have the old pop starters. We used to just have a little rope you'd take in case the pull rope was missing and a can of gas. And you had a little gas engine that you'd fire up and rev it up and just kick the clutch in and just keep doing that to get the diesel turning over. But with the electrics, the 24 volt, I had a generator and the pickup truck. And by the time I got it kicking enough and the heat under it and everything, it was at least a day, maybe 2 days before I got that damn cat going.
Oh, I remember that. Look who showed up.
Yeah.
Bob Hunt.
Bob Hunt showed up. Maybe we can steer the discussion back to models.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was intrigued by the ice road trucker stories. So
Yeah, really.
Hey, we started out talking about obscure runways, though, so it's okay.
Yeah.
yeah, it all ties together.
Hey, Steve, whatever you said didn't come through. So if you
I said Bob Hunt showed up, and I said maybe we can steer the conversation. We're talking about full scale airplanes. Maybe we could steer the discussion back to models.
That's okay. I like full scale airplanes. I grew up on an airport. So.
Yeah, like Carl said, they were talking about ice road truckers in the air.
Oh wow!
And getting airplanes started in adverse conditions.
Well, I did not get that thing you sent me today.
You did not.
Now, how did you send that?
I sent it through your message, text message.
See, I don't do text messaging.
Oh, maybe that's why you didn't get it. All right, I'll send it to you in an email.
Email it. Yeah, you get a chance.
Yeah, I'll email it tonight. Bob, I meant to contact you earlier today, but I missed it because I was busy with my dogs. I'm taking care of our dogs and my daughter's dog because my wife and daughter are in Norway on a craft kind of tour. So I was going to warn you ahead of time that I wanted to know if you had any stories about past Brodak fly-ins that might be memorable.
Well, I do have one. It's a little self-serving, but I do have one.
Okay, that'll work.
What's wrong with self-serving?
Well, as many of you probably know, I'm the guy who started Brodak's fly-in.
I know that.
Yeah, I went out. I was doing a thing called, pardon me, Stunt Flyer Video Magazine. This is back in
Oh,
'95.
yeah, I got a few of those.
And I would go out on what I call acquisition trips to go visit different modelers and interview them and videotape their shops and get some, some stuff for the magazine. So John invited me out. I was going to John's house and then to Billy Werwich's house and then someplace else and someplace else and someplace else. It was like a week-long trip. So I get out to John's place and we do the videotaping of the manufacturing facility and the his shop and everything. And then we walked out the back door to where he had this field there. And they have one circle for their club on the far left as you go out the back door. And I was panning around with the camera and I said, man, you ought to hold a contest here. And his exact words to me, these are the exact words he said to me. He says, do you think anybody would come? So I said, yeah, I think the whole world would come. So he said, well, I don't know how to throw a contest. I said, well, I'm a contest director. I could do it. So for the first 3 years, I was the CD of that thing. One of the years, I needed somebody to run the slow combat event. I'm not even sure they still run that. Do they, Sparky?
Yes. Oh, no, fast
Oh.
combat.
Sparky snuck in on us.
So I needed somebody to run the slow combat event. So I called my buddy Phil Cartier, and who's a national combat champ. And I said, can you run it for me? He said, on one condition. I said, what's that? He said, you have to fly in combat.
Oh, no.
I said, I haven't flown in combat probably since the 60s, I flew at the 61 Nats in combat. So I said, I don't have an airplane. He said, I'll give you an airplane. I'll lend you an airplane, and I'll give you a pit crew, and I'll get the fuel, and all you got to do is go out there and go as far as you can. If you crash the airplane, it's no problem. I just want you to go as far as you can, and I'll be happy. I said, okay. So little did I know, his modus operandi was to match me up against all the top Maka guys, 2 national champs
Oh, no.
and 2 other top 10 Maka guys. And they were going to beat up on the stunt kid. So at the end of the day, I handed him back his airplane and thanked him. I took the first place trophy home with the highest score ever recorded in the event. Anywhere in the United States, I was told. I had something like 9 or 10 cuts of one flight and probably 8 or 9 on the next flight. And I beat all 4 of the guys they put me up against. So
I guess you schooled him.
that's my Ronin story.
Yeah.
Again, a little self-serving, but I like the story.
Did he invite you to do it again the next year?
No.
No.
He took a lot of grief from the combat community because of funny.
Well, guys, my company's showing up, so I'm going to sign off.
You're going to drop out, Bob?
Bob,
All right,
good
have
to
fun.
you here, Bob.
Yeah.
Hope you get better.
Thanks much. Bye now.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
So, I'm sure we got some dads here, and Sunday is Father's Day. And I have a dad joke for everybody.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I used to hate facial hair, but then it grew on me.
Oh, jeez.
I subscribe to the daily dad joke email.
Maybe you should hate, just like me, you should hate head hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went to the St. Charles Barber College for my last haircut. At St. Charles, like a suburb.
Great Rockland.
Oh, you're scraping up the world here. And they bring you to the student. What do you want? I said, well, I want it all cut off. You want it boiled? I said, no, I just want a little tiny bit. Oh, you want a 1? I said, okay, I guess that's what it is. So my wife has been doing it, and she's getting tired of it. Plus, she was out of town, so It wasn't a bad experience. It was like $8 for a haircut, and you give the barber in training a tip, and it was fine.
For $19, you can go on Amazon and buy a wall hit hair clip, put a number 1 on it, and go like that, just like me.
I don't have,
That's what I
Bob,
do.
I do not have the coordination to do that. I'd
Ah,
probably cut part of my scalp off.
No, you can't.
It's nothing to it. It's nothing to it. I do the exact thing that Sparky just said. I have a wall clipper, put the closest one on, and just shave it all up.
Hang your head over the trash can and that's it.
Now, Carl can't identify with any of this.
No.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you guys pulled a GI Jane.
Yeah.
Well, Joe is 2 points behind whoever's in first with a ringmaster.
Oh my, in expert
Yes,
PA. Oh my goodness. Is it a standard S1 or a 575
it's a 576, I think.
or 76? Yeah. Okay.
So was Daly in first, or is that Gabe in first?
I don't think either one of those are first.
Really?
Yeah. I think Daly's third. It may be Gabe first. I'm not sure.
I was watching him the other day. I mean, he is the monster. He's gonna be a real monster when he gets older.
Until he finds girls and
Yeah,
cars.
that's always the problem.
Yeah, if they get too good, we get them a fast car and a faster girl.
They get those fumes, gasoline fumes and perfume.
Perfumes, yeah.
I shot Junkyard Wars.
Yeah, I got to take a look at that after we're done.
I'm having a real problem up here. This phone that I got, I can shoot video, but I don't dare shoot for an hour because it completely drains the battery. Completely.
Wow. Like really fast?
Yes. In an hour shooting time, it'll go from 100% down to zip,
Well, you need a glow powered camera.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm thinking about getting another phone, but I don't want to get involved with AT&T again.
Oh man. Yeah, that was a nightmare.
I got lifted. Now here's something, and well, no, I won't mention it. I'll mention it after Mark mentions it.
Did my buddy Joel Costantino fly his twin today?
I think so. Oh, wait a minute.
Or do you fly a Caprice?
I'm not sure. I don't think he flew a twin. I did not see a twin on the field.
Okay.
But I saw Joel Constantino on the board, I think. I don't know. I can't remember from my memory's so bad it's ridiculous.
All right.
You got that same CRS syndrome, huh?
Yeah, it's getting worse. I pulled my trailer out of the hole.
Oh, good.
And parked it up on Buzz's driveway where John's truck usually sits.
It's supposed to rain again tomorrow?
But it's raining. Just as I pulled into the motel here, it started raining. It's supposed to rain all night.
Wow.
And it's a 56% chance of rain tomorrow. So, yeah, it's going to rain.
Boy, Buzz must really hate it when that place gets ripped up, when it gets muddy, wet. The old cars going in there, the car tracks and ruts.
It's terrible.
Horrible.
On Friday when I got here, or last Friday, I told her, it was a river going down that wash there. I'm up on the hill, by the pit. You know where I am, Bob.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty dry up there. But down in the gully there, it was flowing like crazy. I said, you better get some hay out here. And they put some hay. They shut off the road in front, by the chain link fence, pretty far up this time, and put hay down. But they didn't put any bales of hay out there where the water is.
All right, I'm looking at first flight scores. I won't tell you where. And it looks like Mike Palco at 559 is sitting in first.
Palco, yeah, okay.
Joe Gilbert in second at 556. And Joe Daly in third at 554.5.
Close.
Really tight.
I forgot about Palco. He's a good flyer. Where's Gabe Alamoff?
Let's see, Gabe Alamoff, 548.
Wow. That
I'm
kid,
down in the 520s, 524.
Bob's
Gabe,
got
Gabe's got,
524.5, yeah. Joel
do
Costantino's got 510.5.
you have the advanced scores there too?
Let's see, advanced, yes.
Thank you forever who posted that shit to Facebook and not posting it to Stunt Hangar.
I didn't say it was on Facebook.
Yeah, I know it is.
Frank Donnelly looks like 548.75.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to bump up. Angstrom, 532.25.
He won Junkyard Wars.
What did Joel Costantino, what was his score?
510.5.
Okay, thanks.
I don't think they posted Junkyard War.
No, I shot it live just before I came on here. I was like 2 minutes before I
Yeah,
come
I
on
saw
here.
you. I got to watch that after we're done here. So who won?
The guy you just said, he in intermediate that or advanced.
Donnelly?
No,
And Vinstrom.
yeah. I don't know. The
Engstrom?
big guy. It's a big kid. I don't know his name.
Angstrom.
Oh,
Yeah.
Angstrom, yeah.
Angstrom, that's it.
Angstrom Evernez.
Were they doing teams or individuals this year?
Teams.
So who else was on his team?
His
Probably
dad
his
and
dad.
his mom. I mean,
Oh, okay. A family team.
yeah. And it's really not, they were talking afterwards. It's really not the same as it was where they were building them out of crates. They're building them out of them plastic signs. And they
yeah.
fly too darn good. He had an airplane with an airfoil. I mean, he could do the pattern with it. And that's not the spirit of Junkyard Wars.
They're using campaign signs, huh?
Everything gets competitive. You make a competition out of it, people are going to find a way to make it better.
Yeah.
So what they were talking about doing next year is have 5 sets of plans. Nobody knows what they're going to get, so that these guys are coming prepared. The motor's on the crutches, the bell crank's on the crutch, on the ready to go, and so nobody's going to have a pre-programmed design. You're going to pull a design out of the hat, and you're going to have to build that in an hour out of trash.
That's better.
And we missed Len here. Len at the Junkyard Wars. He always had a Canadian airplane with the mounted police standing on the wing and all kind of crazy stuff. I mean, this year it was all flying wings. Them Corfam sign, whatever that plastic signs are.
Yeah.
But Angstrom's flew the best.
Well. Was it first person to 10 laps or something like that?
You have to do 5 level laps, and then you're allowed to do a freestyle pattern. And you get so many points for loops and so many points for inverted and 8s. And
oh, wow. Okay.
I'm telling you, that airplane that he had was like a combat plane. It would do the pattern.
And it had an airfoil?
Yeah. He took the sign and folded it over, and they stapled it, made an airfoil.
Huh. That's amazing.
Clever.
The other guys were flat, they didn't fly with a crap.
Right. What else happened today out there? Anything?
Quite a few crashes. There was no wind. The wind was like nothing. We saw combat guys, Bob was talking about getting so many cuts. I saw 2 guys fly flight after flight after flight,
and never get a cut until they hit the center of the airplane and bam, both airplanes went down.
God.
Did you get any footage of combat?
No,
No,
I'm
And
telling
what-
you, I didn't shoot much footage today, this
because
meet.
of the battery situation.
Yes, the batteries, I did quite a few shorts, but you know, they might be mad at me, but all I can say is if you want something different, come with me and shoot it, you know.
Too bad
Exactly.
you can't hook up some of them Mala cells.
No,
Oh,
I'm getting,
I just got 4 of those 3,000 milliamp Mala cells, and they're way just a couple of grams more than the 2600s. And they're going to give me a lot more capacity, even though I didn't need it.
wow.
I'm going to go to bigger props. I'm going to put 11-inch props on.
and more cycles. You'll get,
They'll give you, apparently they're supposed to give up to 1,000 cycles, which is, you know, when you can put the batteries together for about $40, $30.
these, get them, here we go. These are monocell, 3,000 milli, same thing you're gonna run in your airplane.
Yep, yep.
It says not for e-cig or vape use. And I called the guy and I said, hey, you know, because I bought these because Howard, I knew they'd work. Howard said, yeah, I get them from just, let's see, 18650 batteries. Okay, so I called them and I had them really quick, like 2 days, and they were there and they were cheap.
I got a box of those, big box of them.
I think they were $4.50 a piece.
Yep.
You can't buy them from the store for less than $10 a piece.
Yeah, you wait for a sale, you can get them pretty cheap.
So I said, called him up. I said, why does it say not for e-cig use? Will it work? He said, yeah, it'll work. They put it on as a disclaimer in case the thing blows up in your hand.
Oh, or your face.
Yeah, whatever.
Well,
But
they can't blow up. There's no explosive component to that.
Right, whatever. Burn up, whatever.
They can vent with flames, kind of like the Hindenburg when it vented with flames.
So, Bob, I know that you showed the aftermath of a crash
Yeah.
scale, and something happened with the handle.
Yeah, Dan Banjak was flying and the crimp, you know, they have those plastic coated cables and they come out and go around and they have a furl on it. Well, I looked at the furling tool and the furling tool didn't swage them correctly. And they probably didn't have I always have them leave them sticking out and then open them up so they can't pull through. But it pulled through, just the down line or the up line or what, yeah, the up line just pulled off and the airplane went pow. I wasn't there. I just heard it. And that's when I walked up there to the scale.
Yeah, that NICO press sleeve should go down on just raw wire, not onto plastic coated wire.
Right.
So when they do that kind of termination, they don't double it up like we do when we're doing the winding.
No, there's a special tool. It's a swaging tool that when swaged, it becomes one solid piece.
Mm-hmm.
But the tool that they used didn't look like it was the correct tool. It didn't swage that down to become one solid piece.
It's a big tool. It's about 2.5 feet long, and it really has a lot of pressure on it. It's called a NICO press.
You put a ton of pressure on it, 2,000 pounds, and it just strips it down.
It melts.
It melts that
together.
NICO press sleeve right into the cable. So go right into the crevices in the cable. It goes right in, so it can't go anywhere. When we used to do tests on those because we made handles for years, and we used those NICO press sleeves, and we would put the stuff on the ground and screwdriver stand on it, and we pull up on it. And in every case, the cable would break outside the NICO press sleeve. It wouldn't break. The sleeve wouldn't break.
You got to have the right tool if you're going to use those swaging.
Those great tool.
Would they use those on like the Brodak handles? The
probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never saw a Brodak handle, but I have Casminato handles, and that's what you used on it.
Yeah.
And coated wires are kind of spooky to use anyway because you can't see what's going on inside. When you're going up and down, back and forth, I don't know how many
cycles it'll take, but all it takes is like 2 of those strands to start breaking and it starts unwinding. Pretty soon you'll be flying and it'll just stretch right out and have the plastic on a coating on it, but no wire attached.
I generally restring my handles at least once every other year, but sometimes every year. I got a big, reel of that mil-spec cable and a whole box of the NiCopress sleeves and the big NiCopress swaging tool. And I do it for everybody around here. They bring their handles over and we change all the cable.
That's a good habit to be in.
Well, I got 4 flights for the year, so I'm not too worried about it coming undone. It's not like I fly 1,000 flights a year.
You fly the blue airplane?
Yeah, I flew the Viper today. 524.5 was my score.
Is that Simply Blues?
Yeah.
Right.
4 flights for the year.
Did they do appearance points?
Yep, I got 17. Palco got 18.
Was that a new
With the Mustang?
Yep.
That Mustang is like 18 years old.
Yep, I know.
Oh, it wasn't new.
No.
He crashed it last year just before the Nationals. And rebuilt it the week before the Nats and still looks good. I mean, I don't think it's 18 points anymore, but
I thought I read that he was building something new.
he has a new one. It's not done yet, though. He had the
it's
Mustang, right?
done yet.
Sparky, he flew the Mustang?
Yes. The yellow Bardol.
Yeah.
That's a great I've flown that airplane. That airplane is spectacular.
That's your design, right?
Yeah, but he did a heck of a job building it. One time we traded airplanes after a contest, and we realized that we could have traded airplanes before the contest and not known the difference. Our pitch trim is the same, and our handle settings are the same. We could fly each other's airplanes back to back and fly the same pattern,
So, Sparky, are you coming back early? Or are you still coming back on Sunday?
Well, the plan is, depending on how long I stay here tomorrow, I'll stop in Dayton and drop off Barb's money.
Yeah.
And if it's crappy weather, I'll stay there and go through the rest of John's stuff. And then I'm going to stop at Danny's.
Okay.
So it could be Monday when I get back.
Okay.
Say hi to Danny for me.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as you're back well before 8 p.m. because that's when I got to pick up my wife and daughter from the airport on Monday.
I'll be back in the morning, not in the evening. But see,
Right.
I might spend the night at Danny's house. I don't know.
Okay, well, just text me and let me know.
But you got to remember, Indianapolis is only 3.5, 4 hours from St. Louis.
Yeah.
I'm 10 hours away now.
Right. Well, I was going to ask you to, I don't know, call or text me when you're like an hour out.
I will.
So I can get to your house before you make it there.
Well, I thought if I make it on Monday during the day, early morning, let's say 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, my spot will be open. Those 2 spots will be open because the neighbor will be at work.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Then I can unload my trailer from the front yard instead of having to go around the backyard.
Okay. But you need me to help you get the trailer off.
And then I can pull around the back and unhook.
Okay.
After
Well, I
I
can
get
help you
unloaded.
unload if you trust me.
Well,
Just don't give me any airplane.
yeah.
I have a reputation for being a clumsy oaf in Bob's shop.
Somebody poked a hole in the wing on my Viper profile.
Oh no. So you didn't even fly it?
No. They picked it up, and I-beam wings, you got to pick up by the nose. You can't pick up by the wings. And they put their
Right.
finger
Yeah, there's nothing up there on the leading edge.
Ain't no big deal. It's an easy fix.
That's
That
good.
airplane's been fixed so many times and it doesn't even have that many flight. It has like one flight on it.
Right, right.
Have you ever had a bell crank come apart, Bob?
No.
SIG bell crank. I put it together with using a SIG 4-inch bell crank, and I don't know. I was doing something, refinishing something on this airplane, and I pulled the line, and I had no control, no up, no down. I figured, shit, it came out of the hole. Quit wrestling, Carl.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It came out of the hole. No, the tang that from the pivot point broke off.
Well, that nylon gets brittle over time. Those bell cranks are probably old.
Yeah, I probably should have boiled it.
Should have boiled it. Yeah. I've been using those linen-based phenolic bell cranks for a number of years now. I have some carbon ones, and I have some of the Brett Buck aluminum ones with the end grain balsa between them, and they work fine too. I make sure that I put something to make sure they don't delaminate.
Yeah, there's been a few delaminations on them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm strictly using carbon bell cranks now. I got the mold.
Yeah.
Just make them up and do it.
Wayne is still talking.
Well, guys,
I think Wayne is
Go
still
ahead.
talking about the Golden Hawk. He says some of the material is corrugated plastic. I sent a link for the outer zone plan.
Huh.
I don't know. Does anybody know
I'm
anything
gonna
else?
hit the rack.
See you, Starkey.
See you guys later.
Yeah, okay.
All right, Bob. Good night.
Bye.
Let's see again.
Is he talking about the scientific golden hawk?
I thought he was, and that's what I sent him a link to the plan. But I couldn't find anything on hip pocket aeronautics. I didn't see a way to do a search there.
Okay, the only golden hawk I know. Wait a minute.
Chris McMillan.
Chris McMillan had a hawk, a golden hawk that he designed, didn't he?
Yep.
What was that? Was that a
Full center, bubble canopy, kind of a jet style thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Wayne was talking about something his first plane.
That's got to be.
Oh, Scientific had one.
That's what we were
Yeah,
thinking
Scientific
was, and that's the plan I found.
Kind of kind of like big round swoopy wingtips and one of them hollowed out log fuselages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd forgotten all about. I've forgotten all about that full size stunner that he designed.
Chris,
in the Golden Hawk.
Was nice.
And who's got plans for that?
I've got them somewhere.
You got them somewhere?
Well, I've got about 300 or 400 sets of plans.
Wow.
What, you got them in PDFs or?
No, I got them on hard copy.
Oh, hard copy.
The idea was I was going to scan them and put them in PDF format, but that failed to occur when I couldn't get the scanner. I got a scanner from a fellow, good deal, but I couldn't get it to run for me. So so anyways, I've got all these plans here, and I'm too lazy to go to do them the hard way.
Yeah, you know what might work is an old planetary camera that they used to do for microfilming, and mount a digital camera in there. I have no idea where you'd get such a thing, but I know they exist.
Well,
Zip dead.
what would be nice is if I could go to the print shop and if I could get a good package deal on just scanning in all the plans I have,
Mhm.
you know,
Digitizing
running them
them,
all, a
give
bunch
you
of it.
this. We
Then-
got a well over 100 plans were just donated to Pampa and they're all flat in a big case that holds them flat.
Wow.
Over 100 sets of plans, all flat.
Wow.
And we got the case too.
Now that's
Wow.
something. What?
So
gotta do
who's
something with that?
Pampa having doing the scanning to get those into PDF?
Well, that's the next step. We're going to find out, like you said, we're going to see if we can get a package deal down here at W Graphics. That's where our plans for Pampa are now currently on their drives down there. And
Oh,
we're going to see if they'll give us a good package deal to do. We got a guy, I'm not at liberty to say who it is, but he's ready to donate a large sum of money to Pampa. We got to make sure though that Pampa's going to keep going before we take this guy's money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I actually have, I'd have to work a little bit to put together. I actually have the original plans for the 40 size version of Bob Barron's, what do you call that plane?
Humbug or
Huh?
the humbug.
Yeah, 800 some odd square inches.
Yeah, we used to call that airplane the dustpan.
800 square inches for a 40?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Bob did some unusual things.
That would have to be built light.
He was a light builder. Yeah.
Man. Was that a high aspect
I have a
ratio
little
or-
humbug. I built a little profile loss sheeting method humbug. It's a great little airplane, a lot of fun.
Would you consider that big 40 size humbug a low aspect or medium or a high? I know it's not a high aspect ratio.
No, it's fairly low aspect ratio actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You
that
wouldn't
means
happen to have a picture of it, would you?
not a lot of cord?
I don't have a picture of that. Maybe I do. Hold on, let me think.
A lot of cord, not a lot of span.
Bob Barron, hold on here.
No, that would be high aspect.
Well, I don't have.
Low aspect.
I have his original, not the original, but I have a humbug. Hold on a second here.
Steve, the
Okay,
high aspect ratio.
sharing's not turned on, Steve.
Oh, let me see how to do that. Let's see. Allow participants to share screen. Okay, I think I just turned it on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's pretty close to what the 40 size.
Yeah, the bigger one though is a lower aspect ratio than that.
Right, right.
And what does that lower aspect mean?
Well, the aspect ratio is how many times long the wing is than it is wide. Average,
So narrower wing at the same.
a narrow wing that's long is high aspect ratio. A wider wing that's short is low aspect ratio.
Okay, okay. I never quite.
The aspect ratio is the ratio between the chord and the span.
And the span, okay.
Right.
So how did that one fly?
It flew good. Actually, it flew so well at the 69 Nationals that he had the highest flight score in qualifying, but he didn't have any appearance points to go with it. He didn't make the finals.
Oh. And why didn't he have appearance points?
Because it wasn't pretty. He wasn't a finisher.
Was that in the days of 40 appearance points?
Yes.
Ah. We should have had something.
He didn't have any
Maybe originality.
back then, who knows what they were looking at,
Well, I think you could say the same thing for nowadays.
I guess you could,
For some pilots would say that.
Yeah,
I remember flying that one at VSC. I think the third or fourth VSC.
yeah.
He
He
won.
He won with it. I was judging that contest. I got to fly that after the contest. It was a good flying airplane. Here's a little one I made.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
How'd that fly for you?
It flies great.
That's like a cross bug.
It's downstairs right now. I'm actually giving it to Frankie Imbriaco. He needs something to fly, so I'm giving it to him. This is the setup with the nose.
That's a Cobra.
Yep.
What's the size on that?
2814, I think 870 is it? I'm not sure. I can't see the KV. No, maybe it's more than that. It's like 1,000 KV. It's a 4S motor.
Okay.
Was that 3/8 inch balsa on there, or quarter?
3/16. No, the fuselage.
Yeah.
It's quarter inch. Yeah, quarter inch.
Quarter inch.
And the reason you can get away with that is because it has those outriggers.
Right. Right.
You know, you don't have to make the fuselage real.
Well, and the electric doesn't shake, so.
Yeah, it's really kind of a neat little fun airplane to fly, you know.
Yeah, him and Netzbahn were working on that project, weren't they?
Yeah, Netzbahn had a little bit different one. His was a Warren Truss built up wing, and it was more elliptical, not elliptical, but it had rounder tips on it. A little bit higher aspect ratio airplane. I got plans for that.
Do you?
Yeah.
So Bob, I'm still struggling with the KV value of the motor versus the battery, the S on the battery that you use.
Well, you'd have to talk to somebody a lot more savvy about electric than me to give
I
you.
gotta talk to Will tomorrow. I
But
know.
Will tomorrow would do it. But my rule of thumb is 1,000 kV or over is a 4S motor, or even a 3S motor if you get up to 1,100 kV or something. And then a 5S motor would be like an 850, 870. And a 6S would be like a 700, 710, someplace in there.
Well, what would happen if you had let's say a 900 kV motor that you would normally run on a
4 or 5.
On a 4, and you ran it on a 5? What would you have to change?
Well, you wouldn't be as efficient, you know. You'd be
With a 5, you wouldn't be as efficient?
no, because the thing is designed to run on a
Higher
4S.
voltage?
Yeah, the voltage. Yeah, you'd have to again talk to Willie tomorrow.
Okay.
Everybody assumes I know a lot about electric. I know how to make mine work, and that's it. Dean Pappas and Will tomorrow and Rick Huff say do this, I do it, and it works, and I just do it over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
Works great. Rick just got done making me some 3,000, I think I mentioned before, some 3,000 milliamp Molicel batteries. They're 6S.
6S.
3000s. And the nice thing about the 3000s is they'll run cooler because they're lower internal resistance, lower impedance, and they'll have more capacity. So I'll probably be able to run 11-inch props on the twins, where I'm running 10s now with a 2600 6S. I'll probably be able to run the 11-inch props because I'm running 11-inch props on the same motors like in the Caprice. That's got an 11-inch badass prop on it. So I'm anxious to see what another inch of diameter is going to do. I'll have 22 inches of disc span. That's it's ridiculous.
Pretty soon you won't need a wing. You can just have those props out there, and
Yeah.
the big stabilator behind it, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
Does Joe Gilbert have a thicker wing
He runs a
than,
little thicker wing, not
uh,
significantly thicker. His airfoils are generally a little further forward high point than what some people are running, and they're not much different than a normal.
Ringmaster?
Well, way different than a Ringmaster. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
way different than a Ringmaster.
That's what it looked like. Yeah.
No, these are stunt wings. Stunt airfoils. I don't know what percentage it is, but I mean, I have the templates downstairs for his wing. I could go get them and measure it, but I'm not gonna.
No, I just curious when I saw it. I said, "Wow, that looks pretty thick, Garris."
They're like probably about 2.25 inches thick at the root.
So
At
is
the high
he
point.
modifying the Ringmaster airfoil, or is this a,
No. A Ringmaster airfoils are really thin, and
right,
Yeah.
even the
that point's a
576,
little further aft.
even the 576?
Well, I don't know anything about the 576. I've never
Oh, okay.
studied that.
I think the 576 is a more modern airfoil.
Yeah, would have to be.
Yeah.
But the airfoil you're
it's-
talking about is for some other airplane? Like Big Blue or something?
I'm sorry.
This other airfoil you're talking about, what airplane is that for?
What other airfoil?
It's one of Joe Gilbert's.
The one you
design.
mentioned about Joe Gilbert.
Oh, I don't know about Joe. I thought you meant Joe Daly.
Oh, Joe Daly, never mind.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Joe
got my Joes mixed up.
Oh, Joe Gilbert, who I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's easy to mix up Joes and Bobs.
Yeah.
I find that in all intents and purposes, the good old NACA 4 digits usually work pretty decent.
I've been running over the years. I've been experimenting with airfoils, and I use the TLAR principle.
That's about right.
That was that was about right.
Yeah.
And after a while, you have some experience with them, and you try different airplanes, and you kind of see where the high point is and things. And if you like it, you say, okay, well, I'm going to go in that direction and try that. That's how I work. But with the Crossfire in particular, I ran the high point at the root further aft percentage-wise than I did at the tip. I ran, and that's very common now, to run the high point further forward at the tip.
Yep.
And round them off a little more, almost like a full-scale aerobatic airplane.
Helps delay the tip stall.
Yeah, exactly. But the ancillary benefit I got that I didn't even know I was getting, because I swept the trailing edge forward. I sweep the trailing edge forward. I know a lot of people don't like that. All my airplanes are like that, because it reduces the stick load in the wind. You don't get that stick pressure buildup. But the ancillary benefit, Dean Pappas pointed out to me, he said, in doing so, you've essentially faked your wing into thinking it's a constant chord wing, because the high point at the quarter chord at the tip and the root, if you draw a straight line between the high point at the quarter chords from the tip to tip, it'd be a straight line.
Yep.
And as we all know, those constant chord wings fly great in the wind, like Chiefs and things like that. They fly super in the wind. So
on Alan's Legacy, I use a straight 4-digit airfoil.
Mm-hmm.
But I had his name right.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all know him. He.
You're not talking about Alan.
The Sultan.
Oh, Norm Whittle.
Norm Whittle. I'm sorry.
That's a nice airplane.
That is a nice airplane. And Norm, I thought he told me he was running an Epler airfoil. So I started running Epler airfoils because I liked the way his was flying. But I later found out he was running a Selig airfoil.
Oh, yeah.
And but I'll tell you what, either one of those, all three of those are decent airfoils. You know,
Yeah.
you can't go wrong with any of them, those three.
I used to
And I
kind of,
just have,
I thought the Eplers were, or the Eplers were like highly undercabered airfoils.
well, no, they have, I think it's the 194 is a fully symmetrical.
Oh, is it? Okay. But it has a little polywog to it?
Nope. It's a very nice looking airfoil, very clean. I think I can show
A
you.
bit more laminar flow, or?
It's more laminar flow.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
I'll see if I can bring up.
Didn't Al Raby experiment with different airfoils?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
In fact, he had one. I think he did one that was on the Sea Fury. The top was
Asymmetrical wings.
yeah, it was asymmetrical. It was like more on the top than on the bottom, or and he was driving his car.
Yeah, the little thing on the hood.
With a thing out hanging out the window.
Yeah.
With the different airfoil.
He took a lot of heat because of that. If it won't lift the hood off your car, it's no good, you know.
Yeah. That's an interesting article. I still have that that copy of was it Model Aviation then, or was it Model Airplane News?
Well, I think he had the Stunning Can Be Smooth was in Flying Models. Not Stunning Can Be Smooth. The Mustang was in Flying Models.
Yeah, the Sea Fury. The
He
Sea
also did
Fury
an
was
article
called "Go for Broke."
in American Modeler, I think it was at the time. American Aircraft Modeler.
Yeah. Still have that
Good
one.
guy.
Still have the one with the Phantom and the Crusader semi-scale
That
models.
was American Modeler.
Were in the same magazine.
And they were facing pages. Remember that?
Yeah.
And Billy Suarez did that Phantom. He crashed it at the 70 Nationals, and the night before qualifying, and it was in a million pieces. He went back to his motel room and glued it all back together and missed qualifying by a couple of points.
Wow, that's amazing.
He was a good flyer.
All right. It's been 2 hours. I can end the stream.
Okay.
Or I can keep it going.
Whatever. Go to the end party.
Go to the after party. Okay.
Yeah.
See if I can figure out how to do that again. Live stream. Nope. That ain't it. Well, it's just thought I just found it. There it is. Stop live stream. Okay. So I got this
now we can really get down to it.
thing. Thank you all for watching the live stream on stunthangar.com. We appreciate you all hanging out with us. It looks like we still got 13 watching. It's great. And I think he says